Look, DC finally completed Tom King's run in oversized hardcover format, and today we're taking a look at Volume 6. What's up, guys? BJ Kicks here. I buy comics, I read them, and I review them, all for your viewing pleasure. If you're new here, welcome. If not, welcome back. And look, DC has finally done it. Tom King's entire run on Batman is now complete in oversized hardcovers. Yeah, he did the Batman Catwoman miniseries that just ended. Whatever. They'll collect that later. But his run on the main title Batman is over. And now we got this oversized hardcover to cap off your Rebirth Deluxe collection. If you're like me, this was all you needed to complete the set. And now we have all 6 volumes. For a long time, it didn't look like we were getting volume 6. And then, surprise, surprise, here it came last month. So I got to give a huge shout out to Organic Price Books. That's where I got my copy. If you're looking to complete your Batman set, then definitely go to Organic Price Books. This book is off of back order now. You can use the code BJKicks to save $2 on your purchase. Or if you're buying multiple items, then you can go ahead and use the code BJKicks. Ship it together. There's actually a sale going on right now where you can get an extra 10% off of select DC omnibus and oversized hardcovers. So go to Organic Price Books right now, check out the sale, and let them know I sent you. And let's go ahead and get to this overview. All right, guys, so here we are. We're taking a look at the Batman Deluxe Edition Book 6, formerly known as the Rebirth Deluxe Edition. They stopped calling it that with Volume 4, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Volume 3 is the last one, titled Rebirth. I brought Volume 2 in here just to show you how thick this book is. This book, I'll have to look up the page count, but you can see if I just stack these, you can see like that size difference. Maybe you can't, but Volume 6 is noticeably the thickest book out of the whole collection. And before we get into it, let's take a look at what this collects. So inside, you've got Batman issues 70 through 85. That's 15 issues there. Batman Secret Files number 2 and Batman Annual number 4. Now, this book is significant to me because this is actually where I started reading Batman. I got into comics in 2019. This run was already well underway. My first Batman comic was Batman number 68. And that one was like Catwoman and Lois Lane having a bachelorette party in the Fortress of Solitude. And I was like, what the heck is happening with Batman? And I didn't pick up another issue until, I found another good jumping in point. And that was the City of Bane. City of Bane is where this cover comes from. But the City of Bane was the final story arc, issues 75 through 85 in the Tom King run. Now, as you can see, this clearly features Thomas Wayne, Flashpoint Batman. I won't spoil why he's here, but this is the run. These are the issues that I first read when I was grabbing Batman in singles. And, this is written by Tom King, artwork by Mikel Hanin, Jorge Fornes, probably one of my favorites, and Tony S. Daniel. There is some fill-in art by some other people. We'll get to that in a minute. Here we have artwork from, I believe this image was like Batman 72 or so. But you got Batman, you got Flashpoint Batman riding horses in the desert. I feel like riding a horse in the desert is probably not something you want to do shirtless, but hey, Bruce Wayne knows better than me, apparently. Let's stretch this out a little bit just because this is my first time opening it. Just straight off the bat, we've got this matte paper. I feel like the other volumes were glossy. Let's look. Yeah, I'm right. So previous volumes had this nice glossy paper. And this one's got this interesting matte paper. I mean, it's fine. It doesn't look bad. It's just, I would have expected the glossy paper like all the rest of these volumes. Now, I'm just going to warn you guys. I'm going to give you overviews of the artwork, but this is the last 15 issues of an 85 issue run by Tom King. So chances are, no matter what I say, there's going to be some spoilers on the screen. So just be aware. Some of these issues I haven't even read yet, but this is the Batman Deluxe Edition Book 6. I don't know, man. The more I look at this paper, the more I'm a little bit disappointed. It just looks muddier on this paper than I feel like it needs to, but whatever. It's a personal preference. Love this cover. That looks like that's Andy Kubert. Yes. Yeah. So, and we get straight into it. There's no table of contents. You got your bookend pages. You got some credits, and then boom. So I presume this is issue 70 of Batman. Now, right off the bat, like, I know the Tom King Batman run is super, super divisive. And look, I haven't read it. I've been waiting for this to come in so I can read it all back to back to back. But yeah, so I can't say whether or not the run is good. What I will say is I love this cover. So we're starting off with the Fallen storyline. And I'm trying to get to the point where I started reading this. All right, so we're getting close. But yeah, so I haven't read this, so I get that it's divisive. Apparently, Tom King's run is really about like the emotional impact of being a superhero. And, some people don't want emotional stories. They just want action stories. So yeah, the Fallen conclusion in this issue here. I believe that's like issue 72, 73. Why doesn't it? This is kind of annoying that they don't have like issue numbers here. Like, so you have to like count the issues. I believe this might be the Secret Files. I'm not sure, honestly. All right, and here we go. So this is Batman 75. This is the first issue that I read, and I know because I had this cover. City of Bane Part 1 doesn't have the City of Bane tagging. I should probably pull out my single issues. I'm not going to do that though. And this is, what I got. So in this City of Bane storyline, basically, Bane is taking over Gotham City. There's a bunch of villains who are basically acting as the police force. And it's like, it's martial law, but it's martial law on another level. And it's just like, yo, Gotham has descended. It's very interesting. Because this was the final issue or the final story arc of a run, like a lot of it was just hard for me to follow. This was not a great place to jump into Batman. And because of that, I read these, like I picked these up every week, and some issues I liked a lot more than others. But the fact that they had Tony Daniel on covers really kept me into it. But I would read an issue and like one issue would be super action packed. Another issue would just be like, Batman and Catwoman's love story. And then we get back to some action. And there are some things that happen in this run, that are controversial. I'm gonna skip over one very major event that I don't want to spoil. But the whole thing is Batman is gone and Bane has taken over the city, and Batman's got to kind of nurse himself to health to come back and fight for Gotham City. That's the crux of the City of Bane storyline. But for me, reading this in single issues, I was in and out because you had fill-in issues. Some issues were done by Clay Mann. Love Clay Mann issues, right? Just beautiful to look at. But then the next issue is done by John Romita Jr. right? Which, no knock on John Romita Jr., but his stuff in this Batman run just wasn't for me. It was fine. I think the coloring helped it out a lot, but it was just noticeably different from everything else we were getting. Like, if you give me Clay Mann, you can't give me this right after. That's just not the move, in my opinion. But it helps that he's in Gotham. He gets to draw a lot of rain, a lot of special effects that kind of distract you from the figure drawing and some of the other things that are, in my opinion, weak points of JR's style at this point in his career. But anyway, I'm trying to make sure I skip the major spoilery part, but look at Bane here. Don't give me Clay Mann and then give me this. And this was my biggest gripe with this run. But as this story unfolds, right? Okay, and here you go. We got Mikel Hanin back on part 8. So you can see how it's weird to go from this to this in single issues. But I think reading it all back to back is a little bit more helpful. Okay, good. I was able to skip the big spoiler. But look, man, look, actually, I probably should skip even more. It's going to be hard to talk about this run. But you get the resolution in this book of a lot of different story plots that Tom King opened up over the course of his, would-be 100-issue run. Now, this story right here, this is the highlight. This is the Batman Annual number 4, and I really liked it. Like, when people were railing against Tom King and this run, this book came out, and it was like, this was the high point. People were like, oh, Tom King does know how to write a good Batman comic. But this issue, and I don't want to spoil it for you, but it's Alfred keeping journals about all of Batman's adventures. And you just, man, you see Batman and his spirit and the will that he has to just overcome these situations. And you're getting it through the voice of Alfred. And it's just a great story. That's one thing I love about Batman in general, is the relationship between Batman and Alfred. There are Tom King and Tom Taylor stories that really highlight how much of a father figure Alfred is, and I love that aspect of the character. And I was about to spoil something else. I won't. But yeah, so this run ends up being controversial for some changes that they make. Obviously, a lot of people jumped off of this run after issue 50. We're looking at extras, by the way. Because, they were expecting one thing to happen with Batman and Catwoman's wedding and something else happened. But look, there's one thing I can say. These covers were always great. I think the story wraps up well, like story-wise. I just wish the art was more consistent through this volume. I love this cover. This is the acetate cover they did. I've got mine still. And then, fun fact, I was going to the shop, like, I didn't have this book on my pull list all the time. So I was going and, like, hoping I could find A covers. And when I had to get some of these variants, I was upset. But I ended up filling them all back in. But great Francesco Mattina covers. Batman Secret Files. Okay, so the book starts out with Batman Secret Files number 2. And we got just some more concept pieces. Nice little Tony Daniel progress piece. That's nice. And that's the end of the book. No foreword, no afterword. No one introduces the run. That glue just snapped. I hope I didn't break the book. And yeah, so all in all, like I said, you get storyline resolved from Batman and Catwoman. You get storyline resolved from Batman and Flashpoint Batman. You get John Romita Jr. If you wanted John Romita Jr. on Batman, congratulations, you got it. For me, that's not the move. And there's not much else I can say about this run. I plan to read this Deluxe Book 6 with all of it. I'm planning to read the whole Tom King run at one time, or, over the course of like a month or so, and let you know how I feel about it. But all in all, that's the book. What's interesting is with this, I now have like pretty much all of modern Batman. I think I just need Nightfall Volume 3 and then No Man's Land Volume 2 when that comes out later this year. And that's pretty much like every Batman omnibus from like the early 90s to now. So I love that you can read so much Batman so easily, and you can very easily get like different people's take. So I'm excited to complete Grant Morrison's Batman, then read Scott Snyder, Greg Capullo. I always almost say not Snyder, but anyway, Scott Snyder, Greg Capullo, and then the Tom King run. And that'll bring us to current. I've still been reading Batman in single issues ever since this ended. We had James Tynion after this. Joshua Williamson did a few issues after James Tynion. And then right now we're in the Chip Zdarsky era, which proves so far to be my favorite. We're only 2 issues in, but I like it a lot. So that's Batman, the Rebirth era, finally coming to a close in this volume. Let me know what you thought of this run down below. Like I said, reading it in single issues, it was disappointing. It was disjointed. And I very much favored Detective Comics over this during this run. But let me know what you thought about it. If you read it, did you like it? And if you want to talk comics with me all the time, then join the K Squad. We review books on Discord and Facebook all the time. I'll see you in another video very soon. Till then, hope you saw something you liked in this one. If not, hey, that's cool. You can always buy what you like. Just make sure you read what you buy. And be nice to others, because kindness makes the world go round. Peace.